Summer routines live or die by how easy they are, and honestly, if something takes too much effort, I'm out. That's why Groons is my go-to. It's my one daily pack of gummies covering my greens, vitamins, and minerals. Plus, it has 6 grams of prebiotic fiber, which is more than 2 cups of broccoli. No mixing powders, no giant pills, no hassle. I just rip open the pack and I'm done. They taste good and they make it easy to stay on top of my health, even when life gets busy. Save up to 52% with the code PODCAST at Groons.co. That's code PODCAST at GRUNS.co.
Holiday tips and fun facts from Paul, Kristen, and Dexter at Total Wine & More.
The custom of bumping glasses with the cheers came from old Rome. When in Rome, cheers!
A pork crown roast with cranberry stuffing deserves a ripe, fruit-forward Cabernet from Paso Robles. Let me help you find the perfect bottle.
Looking for the right wine for a meaningful gift? Consider me your wine concierge.
Whether you're entertaining or just bringing the wine, we'd love to share our always low prices and ridiculous selection with you. This holiday, now offering same-day delivery at TotalWine.com. Cheers!
Talk North listeners, we have a deal for you through our friends at Bite Squad, bitesquad.com, and the Bite Squad app. Use the promo code FOOTBALL anytime between December 27th and January 2nd. Use the promo code FOOTBALL, uppercase, to get $5 off your food order of $20 or more. That's $5 off orders of $20 or more. Go to bitesquad.com, the Bite Squad app. Use the promo code FOOTBALL. We appreciate everybody who has supported our relationship with Bite Squad. We appreciate Bite Squad for sponsoring the programs. And here is the program. It's that time of the year. Yes, it's hockey season, but more importantly, it's time to count Russo's watches.
Yeah.
It is the holiday season. I'm sure he either gifted himself or was given a gift of a watch. Maybe it was a wooden watch. Maybe it was plastic. Maybe it was lava. I don't know. But this is the time of the year Michael ends up with something new on his wrist. What do we got?
No, this one's still the same one. And that's the thing. I always wear the same watch, so I don't know why.
Yeah, you have one really nice watch. I don't know why.
I remember I told you I bought those Instagram the watch off Instagram, and I accidentally bought 2 of them.
In itself sounds like such a good idea.
Yeah, no, I know. And I accidentally bought 2 of them, so they both arrived. They both do look identical. So I put one on my wrist today, and it almost fell off. So I immediately texted John Hedges from Fixology. I'm like, you know that watch I bought on Instagram? At the next podcast, can you take some links off, like 10 of them? And it's not like I am, an overly sunder person, but this thing just went. So it's a good-looking watch. I just don't know how long it's going to work.
Well, now you have a watch for each wrist and each ankle.
So we should do something.
Maybe you have a neck watch.
Yeah. So I got to give away a watch. I texted my brother. He's like, no, thank you. So I'm either going to give it to a friend or maybe we have like a podcast. That'd be kind of cool. Like, you know what we should do is we should give the second watch to Clyde for having to come out to every single podcast.
I think we should just give Clyde like gifts every time he shows up. Clyde, tell us what you want, man. We'll suck up to you.
Yeah. I should actually do that. I should see if Clyde wants it.
Absolutely.
My guess is going to be like, where did he buy this?
Maybe that's what we do. Maybe we give Clyde gifts he doesn't want every time he shows up.
Yeah.
Hey, we have a studio audience. My wife Stacy, who handles the books for Talk North, is just showing up. So we get now we get to be nervous. You know, because I don't.
We have an audience.
Having girls around really kind of scared, intimidates me. Let me go ahead and introduce the show. This is the Russo-Souhan Show, the long-running show on TalkNorth.com. Thanks to Michael for hanging in here so long as we built the listenership. The last 3 days, our listenership is about 185,000 listens, which is way more than we ever expected when we started off this modest enterprise. Thanks to our sponsors, Bite Squad. By the way, Bite Squad has a deal until the morning of January 2nd. Use the promo code FOOTBALL to get $5 off any order of $20 or more. BiteSquad.com or the Bite Squad app. Please do it for your sake and for ours. Appreciate it. Longtime sponsor Twill in the Edina Galleria, twillmn.com. WizKids.tech, your downtown Minneapolis tech firm. Great people to work with. Delano's Pizza, our next couple live shows, January 9th and January 28th, 6 p.m. at Delano's Pizza. Please come out and have fun with us. Fixologyrepair.com. John Hedges is working on my tablet right now. And Tony Hoagland, your State Farm agent, Champlin, who handles my insurance, and Michael's. Quick things. If you'd like to advertise with us, you can reach me at talknorthpodcast@gmail.com. Thanks to our producer, Brandon Morton. And please download before you listen. All right.
January 9th, did you mention that?
Yes.
Okay.
January 9th. Michael never listens to the show.
Well, no, actually, it was funny. Stacy, your wife, came over and looked at my watch and mouthed wow to me. And I wanted
She missed the whole episode, part of the episode about the watch.
I did want to tell Stacy that I didn't buy a Breitling on Instagram. The 2 Instagram watches that came don't fit. So I have to get them fixed.
Okay, now Stacy knows I have a guitar obsession, and, and by the way, she gave me a beautiful.
I don't have a watch obsession. I just kind of
Yes,
like
you
what they
do.
look. The thing is that like I don't know why I bought this.
Yes,
I
you
never
do.
want to take this one off.
That's my point.
Yeah.
But here's the point I'm making. I have a guitar obsession. I admit it, first of all. Second of all, Stacy has bought me 2 beautiful guitars for presents, and like I think I'm done. I think But if I ever buy another guitar, Stacey said I'm not. If I ever buy another guitar, it's going to be different and it's going to be beautiful. It's going to be something to use all the time. You're buying watches you'll never wear.
Yeah, I know.
The first step is admitting you have a problem.
My God.
All right, let's do a little hockey talk here.
Yeah.
So the Wild goes in the tank and then out of nowhere goes to Winnipeg and wins a pretty good game.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, Winnipeg looked flat the game
They
before against the New Jersey Devils. Was it New Jersey? No. Who'd they play? Calgary. The game before as well. So I don't know. I don't want to do it again. You know, like that's the thing. I don't want to sit there like, wow, they're back. They went into Winnipeg and made Mark Scheifele and Blake Wheeler look slow. I mean, you know, like they did it one game. They played an impressive road game. But now, today they're playing the Penguins. Do it again. They usually play the Penguins well at home, not so much in Pittsburgh. And then you have a 4-game road trip coming up at Toronto, best team in the league. Or not, sorry, Tampa's the best team in the league, but one of the most powerhouse teams in the conference, in the Eastern Conference. And then you go to Ottawa, which should be a very winnable game. I watched them; they're awful. And then Montreal, you have a couple days to prepare for them. And then a second of back-to-back in Boston, which they're a good team, but they're demolished injury-wise, and the Wild usually play well in that building, except for last year when they had the closed-door meeting. Okay, everything I just said, forget. But I guess the overall point of what I'm saying is, yes, impressive win in Winnipeg, but they had lost 9 of 12, 10 of 13 before that. Do it again. Let's see if they're really out of this, or do they just revert back to being a team that's falling out of the playoffs? And they put themselves in a position where that's the cynicism we have to give them. They won that night in Winnipeg, and it did nothing for them in the standings. They remained 4 points back because everybody else is either having 3-point games or winning above them in the conference. So they're in a position where this is what they've done. Nico Koivu said it perfectly after the game, is that like, look, the good win, but do it again and again and again, and that's the position they put themselves in, where they got to go win 8 in a row. They really do. I mean, that's the only way. Now, the good news is teams like Winnipeg are starting to, fall back. Nashville has been awful. Nashville's lost 6 in a row. They can't win on the road. So they are coming back to the pack, but still the Wild have put themselves in a position where they've got to go on a run here.
How's Bruce doing?
He's doing better. He's doing better since I told him the other day that his job is safe.
Well, it's nice of you.
Yeah, he's like, oh, thank you. I'm worrying about, I mean, hey, when you lose 10 of 13 and you have a GM that hasn't been able to make a trade yet, and that probably put the heir apparent to Bruce on the bench with him, hey, you just never know when that could break. And but from what I'm told by sources that would know, is that Bruce is safe. Although Chuck was safe a week before he wasn't safe, so I'll just point that out.
Yeah.
But hey, big win in Winnipeg. Now they got to continue it. It's up to the players on the team. I wrote it in my story after the game in Chicago. There's one common denominator with this team that continues to make us want more, and that's the players. It's not the coach. They did this under Mike Yeo. They did this under, Torch obviously did get them in the playoffs, but remember. Let me see if I can put this. Well, they backed into the playoffs. They lost 5. They were on fire, then lose 5 in a row to go into a playoff series against the Dallas Stars. And then Dallas Stars, who have missed the playoffs 8 of the last 10 years, their only playoff series win in the last 10 years was against Minnesota. So, look, this is the core. And so, to me, it's on them. There are a lot of guys not playing well right now or not delivering. Granlund, 1 goal in his last 20 games. I mean, come on. Not a superstar.
Sorry, Mary.
Zucker. That's not Mary. That's Philip.
Philip.
I think Mary just thinks he's cute.
Well, okay. Now you put things in perspective for me.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And
he is cute.
That's the point. Zucker, needs to be better. Stahl needs to be much better. Just doesn't look good lately. Coyle's been playing great, but he is what he is. Scored an awesome goal the other night, but he's not a scorer. And it's funny, in a lot of ways, if we just would accept Coyle for this point, what he is, he's actually a good player. Right, but we all just
checking forward.
We put him into the position. I've said this about Coyle before. To me, he's Rob Niedermayer, and when we all accepted that Rob Niedermayer wasn't the 26 goal scorer that he was in 95, 96, I believe it was, then all of a sudden we said, "Holy mackerel! This guy's one of the best checking forwards in the league and can lead you to a cup the way that he did Anaheim in 2007 on that Paulson and Sammy Paulson, Rob Niedermayer, Travis Moen line." I can't believe I remember that, and then. But, we kind of accepted that. But Coyle, it's like we all just put him in the list of, Niederreiter, Zucker, Granlund, Dumbo, all these, young core guys. And, maybe we just got to accept what he is.
Let's get to the Dallas situation next. I know we have a Twitter question about that. I do want to thank Twill in the Edina Galleria, Alden Shoes, Peter Millar Crown Shop. I bought a lot of Johnny O stuff there. I bought a lot of some beautiful Stenstrom shirts that are really gorgeous. Hickey Freeman, they just have all kinds of stuff. And they what?
I'm just thinking something. So I was talking to Shep Harder the other day, the Wild assistant GM, and he started he listens to the podcast apparently, and he was telling me that Scott Dayton used to just rifle pucks at him as a young goalie, and one day he snapped and went after Scott. So I'll be interested if he remembers this. I can't. Shep played it. I'm horrible. I've written an awesome feature on him when I was at the Strib, and it was either Breck or Blake, and then he went on to play college hockey. He was a goalie.
Well, I know. Listen, Scott's such a big sports fan.
Yeah.
Shep, if you go to Twill, stop by and see Scott. He would love to talk hockey with you. He'd love to show off his shop. He's very proud of what he has over there, and he loves talking sports. So just stop in, see Scott Dayton at Twill in the Edina Galleria. Tell him we said hello.
Jim usually doesn't like to shop for clothes. I don't like it when he shops for clothes either, because he used to buy stuff I'd want to throw out. That's why I'm so glad he's found Twill in the Edina Galleria. He likes shopping there because of the comfortable environment and the friendly staff. He finds clothes that actually fit him properly and are high-quality brands that will look great for years, whether he's golfing or working. Our favorites so far are Peter Millar, Johnny O, and Barber. We spend our money at Twill because we love the clothes and we love the no-pressure shopping. Drop by Twill in the Edina Galleria for the best shopping experience and best clothes you'll find in the Twin Cities.
All right, I know that's awesome.
Yeah, I know.
I do have a question on here. Let me find it about the Dallas situation. We got a long Philip Kallenberg question. That'll be fun.
No.
Okay, somebody on here.
Admitting that he's not a superstar, Granlund, hopefully.
Somebody on here asked about Dallas. I'll just ask you, what's going on in Dallas?
Well, I mean, what a mess. First of all, to preface this all, so hopefully everybody has read this by now. The CEO of the team, who is the equivalent of Matt Maka for the Wild. So this is the business CEO.
And Matt's a typical CEO.
Yeah,
he's mild-mannered. He's behind the scenes.
Yeah. But again, the equivalent would be when I say it like Matt Maka, what I'm saying is non-hockey ops.
Right.
So the guy that Craig Leopold employs to run the business side of the team, that is what the owner of the Dallas Stars employs Jim Lights to do. And so non-hockey ops. He, after a victory in which they had won their third in 5 games, including over Minnesota, by the way, after going into Nashville and shutting them out, he texts the beat writer, or he has, this is even more awkward, he has the media relations person text the beat writers saying, Jim Lights would like to meet with you at 12:15. Well, the Athletics' Sean Shapiro wasn't on the road trip, so he was able to go meet with him face-to-face where and this is odd, the team beat writer couldn't go because he was on the road, and the Dallas Morning News writer who's on the road couldn't go, so they did it by phone. And so that's why the two stories look totally different, which actually to me made it more awesome, because then the Athletic writer got a one-on-one with him where he was able to drop all the F-bombs the guy said. But then the Dallas Morning News had a great story that had different quotes and sometimes more damning quotes.
Wow.
So if you combine the two stories together, you're like, holy shit, horse bleep, which is what the word that he kept on using in the Athletic story. And what he did is he just annihilated Ben and Sagan, which, by the way, I've been doing on this podcast for
Yes, you
2
have.
years.
I give you credit.
So that's to start the story. Just to let all Wild fans know, I took advantage of sending the story to Craig Leopold and Matt Maka. I asked Matt Maka, I said, hey, any chance you're available for an interview today? And he's like, no, I think I'll be on the sidelines. And then I sent it to Craig Leopold, who was vacationing, and he was baffled by it. He just couldn't believe that an owner would have essentially his CEO do this. And it's just crazy.
It is.
I mean, it's nuts. It put everybody into an awkward position. So it puts Ben and Sagan in an awkward position. It puts the media relations department, who, usually your job is to protect the players, into an awkward position because they clearly orchestrated that behind the scenes. Okay, and then the next day, Ben and Sagan's got to stand in front. Now the NHLPA is coming out, and you got to read the story if you haven't. It's unbelievable, and it's led to mileage after mileage. What was really cool is one of our columnists at The Athletic, Scott Burnside, who does a great podcast as well with Pierre LeBrun. Scott worked for the Dallas Stars last year, so he was really able to dig to almost put context into how this has been brewing for a year, which nobody was able to do, but he was on the inside, so that was cool. And then today, reading about Sean Shapiro and basically saying that Jim Nill feels like the media is not tough enough on the team, and if they were, that they would be tougher to play. I mean, it's a crazy situation. And now it's how do these guys respond? The other night they beat the crap out of Detroit, which is an awful team, but Ben and Sagan again did nothing in the game. It put Jim Montgomery in a tough position because the coach of the team, Jim Nill's basically saying that these guys have no accountability. Not Jim Nill, Jim Lights said that these guys have no accountability, that they're doing stuff that would get his son or daughter benched in his little hockey games, and they're treated differently than the bubble guys on the team, which puts the coach in a position. Then he basically says at the end of the Athletic story that they're going to run a good GM out of here who's trying to make the team better. They don't make the playoffs, so he essentially says Jim Nill's job is on the line. I mean, it is this is stuff that I would give anything for. I get the complete opposite. I get text messages like, "Boy, you've been a little tough on us lately." I'm like, "Well, you've lost 10 of 13." Yeah. But but it is funny. It's it's different markets, right? And so what a mess. And now, to me, this is going to backfire, right? I mean, Ben and Sagan can't be treated like this, and publicly by Jim Lights of all people. And then the other thing is that now if you're another team's star or another team's free agent, are you going to want to go? Agents, a player said this to me in a text message the other day. Players and agents have long memories. And in 2 years, if I want to go to Dallas and St. Louis are two teams coming after me, I don't care if the money's not equivalent. I'm choosing St. Louis. This is what an example he gave to me. And that is true. I mean, agents are going to remember this. Do you think Ben and Sagan's agents, who are powerhouse agents, aren't pissed off right now? So I think in the long run, this was not the brightest move.
No, that's the thing. You and I are,
And trust me, as a beat writer, I love it.
I was a beat writer for a long time, and I loved it. I remember getting Herschel's agent on the phone ripping the Vikings, because he didn't think they were using them properly. And that was you kill for stuff like that because it's actual people being honest and blunt. But if I was working for the organization, this is the last thing I'd want.
Yeah. I remember, coincidentally, in Dallas, Wild were in Colorado the night before. They lost 1-0. They had 17 shots on goal. A desperate hockey team. This is Doug Riseborough might have even been his final year. And in Dallas, in the stands, I sat with Doug, and we had sort of a state of the team thing. And he was pretty as strong as Doug has ever been, ripping on teams, specifically players, blah, blah, blah. And I went into the locker room afterwards, And I went up to players that he essentially, indicted and interviewed them, and that created an issue behind the scenes. And it was so mild compared to this, and this is the actual general manager. And so players don't usually take to this. And the other thing I'll say is, it's funny, we made the big story when the Ottawa Senators were caught in the Phoenix Uber and were ripping on coaches and how, wow, this stuff is really said. And my point to you on the podcast was, do you think that behind the scenes, Mark Crawford and Guy Boucher and whatever the assistant coach's name is that they were really going after, don't say the same thing about them? And that's the thing here is that, do you think that behind the scenes that players aren't sitting there and ripping on ownership and management all the time? You think, I hate to say it like this, but do you think, these guys are human beings. Do you think that deep down when these guys all get together on the Minnesota Wild, that I won't name players' names because I don't want to put words in their mouth, but do you think they're all like, do you believe we haven't made a trade yet?
Yeah.
Do you believe that, this wasn't done or we didn't go after this guy?
Well, you don't have to say it, but I'll say it, and not knowing them as well as you, anywhere near as well as you, but knowing people who know them, knowing people around the Metro and all that stuff. I guarantee you, Parise and Suter are constantly saying, geez, bleep, 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 why can't they upgrade this position? Why can't they upgrade this position? I'm whatever age, we're near the end of our competitive window, and we are not getting better. We're not going to win a cup, and we're going to be stuck with a bad franchise. I guarantee
I can tell you
that's what they're saying.
That players, the story that I wrote in Chicago, where I basically said, do not fire Bruce, make a freaking trade, this is on the players, was not well received by players in the room. One, because I was indicting them.
Right.
But two, because, I was indicting them. Because they feel like they know that this team isn't good enough. And I think that is part of what's going on here and why I say it's time for Paul Fenton to shake this up. This was my concern coming into this year, is that I felt that this team was bored with each other. That,
hey, you know what?
God, Wild fans are going to throw up.
Let's get it.
The next
let's pause.
Winter Classic is in Dallas.
Okay, let's get to that. We are overdue for thanking WhizKids.tech, WHIZKIDS.tech, downtown Minneapolis tech firm. They can help anybody from anywhere, but they certainly take pride in helping out Minnesota companies. Managed IT, unified communications, cloud services. You want them to be your chief technology ally. WhizKids.tech.
Hello, Minnesota sports fans. This is Michael Thanner, founder and CEO of WhizKids. WhizKids is a Minneapolis-based managed IT, hosted VoIP, and cloud services provider. Businesses today require fast response times, skilled support staff, clear communication, and technology recommendations that align with their business goals. At WhizKids, we do this each and every day with our clients. When you call into our help desk for support or work with one of our higher-level engineers on a complex issue, you'll find our staff personable and ready to roll up their sleeves to help you solve your technology problems. Reach out to WhizKids today to find out how we can help your business meet your technology goals. Visit us online at whizkids.tech. That's whizkids.tech. WhizKids, make it happen.
All right, go ahead, Michael.
Oh, I'm just going to retweet this.
Okay. So the next Winter Classic is in
Yep.
Dallas. So where in Dallas?
In Dallas. I guess at the big football stadium, I would assume.
Wow. Well, I guess sure, it's dome. I guess you could just ice it over.
Yeah.
I hadn't thought of that. It still seems weird. Winter Classic in a warm weather state just doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Sorry. That is just ridiculous.
Well, Michael's playing with his phone. Another reminder of BiteSquad.com or the Bite Squad app. Use the promo code FOOTBALL before the morning of January 2nd to get $5 off a $20 order. It's a really good deal. I would use it if I were you. Thanks to BiteSquad.com. And also our next live shows, Delano's Pizza, January 9th and 28th. 6 p.m. at Delano's Pizza, downtown Minneapolis. Also remember, Delano's has a huge delivery area across the metro. They have a shop in Woodbury as well as the one downtown Minneapolis, so they cover a lot of ground. And although we love Bite Squad, if you're going to order from Delano's Pizza, order directly from Delano's Pizza, delanospizza.com. I do it all the time. Their phone number is 612-767-9494. Delano's Pizza, they just won an award. They're one of the top 100 independent pizzerias across the nation as named by pizza today. It's a great place. Stacy and I went there for lunch the other day. I can get the gluten-free crust, and Stacy can get whatever she likes. We see people, our listeners come out, they order spaghetti, and there's this huge plate of spaghetti. Jared makes his own proprietary tomatoes marinara sauce. It's incredible. It's a really good place. And the place has been in business for 60 years, so you know it's good. All right, Michael.
Yep.
So tell me more about the Dallas thing, or do you want to continue what you're saying?
Well, no, I think I've made it clear. I mean, and I will say again, I did reach out to Maka as a joke. I knew Maka was going to tell you, but Leopold, I reached out to him. I'm like, hey, any chance you'd want to weigh in on the meltdown that's currently going on, and specifically, whether or not it makes you rethink the whole rebuild thing. And he was not in the mood at that point. But it was. Sometimes it's about timing. Probably shouldn't have texted him seconds after the Chicago loss.
I covered the Twins. I had a really good relationship with Terry Ryan, and he was as open with me as any public figure I've ever dealt with. But he once told me, "Hey, you got to stop coming up to me after losses. I might rip your head off." So I learned that to deal with him more during the course of the day. What's your next topic, Mike, or should we go to some Twitter questions?
Not much. I mean, I will say, I'm working on some awesome features this week that I think fans will love. So first one will run either Wednesday, although I just got a text that makes me now think it's going to have to run Thursday morning because I have an opportunity to do something Wednesday night in Toronto that would really help for this one story. So the first one will run either Wednesday night or Thursday. It's really a cool piece. The next one will run Friday. That is a really cool piece. So much good stuff for that. And that's one reason why I've talked this week to guys like Bruno and Nick Schultz and Nick Backstrom for this cool story I'm doing when we're in Ottawa. And then I will have a story also while we're in Montreal that is going to be a unique way of looking at the mid-season of this season. So that's one of them. But yeah. I will say again, Bruce is safe. I know that there's been a lot of talk about that, but I know I said that earlier in the show, but I'm pretty confident that he is. And he's got next year on his contract that pays him a little under $3 each, and then he's got the 2 years of consulting. So, remember Chuck was sort of a free agent. Bruce isn't. That obviously is a big reason.
Let's do some Twitter questions. One last request. I'm going to stop using my Star Tribune account to promote Talk North business. So please go to Talk North Pod. Find us on Twitter, Talk North Pod. You go there, you'll see our dates for Delano's Pizza and other live shows. You'll see deals from our sponsors, including the deal from Bite Squad. And we'd like to promote that Twitter handle as much as we can. It's an easier way to follow the network as opposed to just my Star Tribune work. So Talk North Pod on Twitter, please check it out. From TJ Voigt, have Fenton and Fletcher been involved in any trade talks?
Yes, they have, I believe. I would not shock me if Fenton has offered every player that he would like to trade that maybe Chuck Fletcher was responsible for to him. I'm sure. But I do know they have spoken. I think Eriksson Ek is somebody they've talked about. I do think Coyle and Niederreiter is somebody they've talked about. I don't know if Dubnyk's somebody they've talked about. I don't think the Wild are interested in trading Dubnyk because they need a goalie. And their future goalie can't be Kapanen or Stalock. You can't trade Dubnyk and not have somebody else to be the number one. I mean, that's just reality, folks. It's not going to be Stalock. Although I will tell you, I do believe that the Wild are close to maybe extending Stalock for a couple years, multi-years, to make sure that they have a competent backup here in the next little bit.
Interesting. From Lawrence Alberts, another thing to consider.
Oh, man.
Let's see.
I can't wait to just hear this guy. The best thing in my world was blocking this guy.
I should have previewed it. Yeah. Let's see. So let's get into it. Another thing to consider is the local media hates to see any of the head coaches fired. We'll try to say anything to justify they should stay. Of course, when they're fired, they all he should have been fired long ago.
Yeah.
I don't know what he's talking about.
You should block him, too.
Yeah.
That's M. Gala for it, by the way.
Okay. From Kurt Weasley.
He's got the greatest son, by the way, and the greatest wife, but I finally couldn't take him anymore.
Well, that was silly.
And yet, when he comes up to you at the state fair, he's as nice as can be, and he's actually like a very decent human being. But the cynicism and the sarcasm and the absolute disrespect that he completely shows all the time to every local media person in town, including somebody that like me, who he used to read on an everyday basis, is just disgusting.
There we
Boom.
go. Boom. From let's see.
God, it's been. I mean, honestly, like I haven't. I've probably blocked him like 3 months ago. It's been like the most tranquil 3 months.
Shocked I haven't blocked him yet.
Yeah.
Of course, maybe I will now. From longtime caller, first-time listener, if Michael was the GM and was going to do a fire sale in the Wild, how would he do it?
I don't think you can do a fire sale, but I will tell you, I do think I'm going to work on a story this month about just, you don't have to do a full rebuild to rebuild, so to speak. And you can't do a full rebuild on this. I mean, you just can't. I mean, you can't do a rebuild when you can't trade your highest paid players, right? So, what sucks about this whole thing is that it could probably spell, if the Wild fall out of this the next couple months, but Lawrence, continue to listen to the podcast and frequent our sponsors. It's going to probably spell the end of Eric Stahl if the Wild fall out of it here. So that stinks. But Fenton probably did the smart thing and what the Wild should have done with Koivu. But I got to think if the Wild got through last season and didn't extend Koivu, that they would have done it anyway because Koivu actually had a decent year, especially defensively. So they probably would have extended him, but maybe not though. If actually maybe not. I mean, if you think about it in hindsight, Chuck would have been fired still. So would Fenton have done it? I don't know.
Probably not.
We'll see. It's a good debate to have, actually, inside my head right now.
That's where all the best debates happen.
But Stahl, and suddenly, he decided to be patient with Stahl. Then it looked like he was making a mistake at the end of November. Like everything in the end of November, I wrote a story that said, this is why you got to sign him. And then he goes into the tank here, and now the team goes into the tank, and now all of a sudden...
Funny, I remember somebody ripping me at the last live show about something I wrote that didn't end up looking so good 2 weeks later.
Yeah. Well, everything I write
everything
turns upside down.
Everything
My Black
you write.
Friday gamer, I wish would be scrubbed off the internet.
Everything we write has to be written in the moment.
Yeah,
just the way it is.
So to answer the fire sale question, but I think that you can figure out ways to maybe appease the owner's wish to not do a full rebuild, but also still make changes. But the problem is the guys you want to change are guys that are right now untradeable. I mean, last summer, we wrote all about the tweak, but Paul Fenton did try to make big moves in the summer. He tried to trade for Toffoli. He was very much in talks with Arizona about Domi and Dvorak, who, by the way, then gets hurt in training camp, and we haven't even heard his name. I don't know what happened to him. I don't know if his stomach exploded or what, but he had some sort of abdominal issue, so it might be good that the Wild didn't make that move, even though I thought that he was a fabulous player. Like, I thought he was the better player in the trade if the Wild had traded Zucker and Niederreiter in that move and got rid of Ennis's contract. If you remember, that's what that was. So he's tried to do things, and then they didn't transpire last summer. So then it became like, I want to get my eyes on this team. We're going to go add J.T. Brown and Matt Hendricks and Eric Fair and Greg Patterin. But that's all because once you get past July 1, it's very hard to make a big trade. So once we got past there, it had to become the new narrative. Where now it's sort of the same thing. The guys that you would want to trade, Niederreiter, Coyle, they're not easy to move. Dumb is now hurt, so you can't trade Brodin, especially with Suter not on top of his game. So I don't know where this is kind of what I mean by there's no easy answers here. I know fans are clamoring for have a big explosion, but I don't know how you do it. Or he would have done it by now. I mean, look, Paul Fenton is a smart hockey guy. He sees what we see. This team's not good enough. He still has to abide by, obviously, the owner's wishes, but he sees it, and so far it hasn't come to fruition.
Right. Let's thank fixologyrepair.com. Michael obviously takes his watches over to John Hedges. Right now they're working on my tablets and helping me transfer information from one to another, from an iPad to a Samsung. So I always appreciate their help. Third floor of Mall of America by Nordstrom's, downtown in the Skyway, just south of the Wells Fargo Center. We highly recommend John Hedges and his people.
There are some things in life that you just can't live without. Now, whether it's a special piece of jewelry, a watch, or even your smartphone, you want it in working condition. At Fixology Repair, we are committed to restoring your pieces so that everything works or fits the way it ought to. Watch servicing, chain repair, and broken screen replacements are just a few of the services that we offer at our 2 locations, Mall of America and the Skyway in downtown Minneapolis. Please visit us at fixologyrepair.com or at fixologymn on Twitter to learn more. Mention this ad and get a 10% discount on our services.
Let's go back to Twitter questions. Barb Rule, why has Nino been basically invisible this season? Just not seeing what we expect. Very puzzling. Yeah. Thanks to Barb, and thanks for coming out to the shows, Barb.
Perfect word, puzzling.
Yeah.
It's puzzling. I mean, he's just having a bad year. I mean, that game against Chicago the other night, the penalty he took in Winnipeg, it's not even gripping your stick tight. He is a shell of what he used to be. He used to be so good in tight, and now he's swinging, missing on everything, not getting up and down the ice very well. It's a shame because he cares, he's good, but he's turned himself at $5.25 million into a very difficult player to 1, watch, but 2, move, and that's a tough combination.
From John Cummings, is Coyle looking that good at center this year, or is Koivu looking that old and slow? Keyword from players that play with Coyle is speed. Is that players hinting, don't put me with Koivu? Russo's thoughts. I think he's saying...
Say that again, I'm sorry. I got a text that distracted me.
Yeah, I kind of misunderstood it, but now I get it. He's saying that when players play with Coyle at center, they talk about him having speed. Is that them hinting that they don't want to be put with Koivu? Yes.
Maybe.
Sometimes you have to be a diplomat. Let's see. From Nicholas Robinson. Go ahead.
Question from Dom for the pod. I know you've answered this past, but why will the NHL not get a Winter Classic? And what will it take to get one? Thanks, I'll hang up and listen. He's a buddy of mine. Actually, he comes to a lot of our podcasts and became a buddy of mine. Why? Good question. I just texted somebody when that word came out to see if he'd care to comment, because I know that the Dallas announcement has got to make his head explode. Wouldn't shock me if the Wild were the opponent, but who cares? That's not what Craig Leopold wants and Matt Maka wants. They want to give the fans here that deserve it a Winter Classic. Why? Local TV ratings are incredible, national or not. That's the reason. NBC decides this, not at the NHL. And when the Wild are on NBC Sports Network, they get incredible ratings locally. Nationally, no. And that's why. Dallas does. And probably just helps the situation now to see Jamie Benn and Tyler Seguin in the Winter Classic. So it's actually great timing probably for advertisers. Like, yeah, I'll pay to watch that. Can we have a pre-game interview with Jim Lights, maybe, perhaps? So that's why. What could happen? I don't know. Move the market. The team becomes something that's interesting. A
star.
We all thought that Parisi and Suter was going to kind of put them on the map, but it still never transcended ratings-wise.
That's because those guys aren't national superstars. They're good players, but they're
certainly
not
for the lack of Americans or anything like that. So, or college players, stuff that you would think that would be a draw. So that's the reason.
From Nicholas Robinson, can the Wild help the suffering Minnesota sports fans and be close to winning in the playoffs? Haven't you been listening to the podcast, Nicholas?
I did put a little troll tweet out there when the Vikings lost last night. I just said it's now up to the Minnesota Wild to get it done. And then I sat back and enjoyed the mentions. If you didn't see that tweet,
I didn't. I was busy last night.
If you're a podcast listener, I've tweeted so much today. I got to find the tweet. I'm tweeting all my best of 2018.
Hey, while you're doing that, I'll put out the last ad of the show. Tony Hoagland, Hoaglund, your State Farm agent, works out of Champlin, but you can work on the app. You can call him. You can use an email. You can work with him no matter where you are. He handles Michael's insurance. He handles my insurance. We highly recommend Tony.
Hey, Minnesota sports fans. This is your local State Farm agent, Tony Hoagland. I need you all to ask yourselves this question. If you're in an at-fault car accident and you are sued for $700,000, how much of that $700,000 will my current insurance company pay? If you are unsure or can't answer all $700,000, you need to give us a call. State Farm has been number one in car insurance since World War II and number one in homeowners insurance since 1964. For a no-obligation review of your current policies, call us at 763-421-4900 or check out our website at www.champlininsurance.com.
All right.
So the tweet was, and I knew what I was doing. Trust me. Well, it's all on the Minnesota Wild now.
That's something I do.
6:14 p.m. last night. So go back if you didn't see this tweet, go back to Russo Hockey and look at it. And then there's 125 replies, not to mention 615 likes. The 125. I mean, honestly, I sat there afterwards and I was just laughing. You're just picking the most emotional time to hey, Minnesota sports fans. You still have the Wild.
So you did in 5 words what I did in 700 words in the Sunday paper, which is basically tell Minnesota sports fans, hey, it's okay you don't win. You know, they're still interesting.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? Everybody always says that I like to write tight.
Nobody says that, Michael.
As I write my 2,500 word gamers every night.
From Russo Slacks, what is your New Year's resolution, Michael?
I told you the story about how my friend David's son was reading a story of mine, and his son's like, I feel bad. I don't know. His son's probably like 7 or 8. Dylan. You know David, right? His son was reading my Matt Hendricks story, and he looked at his dad and he goes, does this ever end? You can't make that up, right?
That's awesome.
And that's what Mike Greenlay always says. That he goes, man, I love your stories, but they just go on and on and on and on, and they do.
Well,
I'm sorry,
Michael. I will say that I got a notice from the internet. The internet says it's running out of space. Can you please write tighter?
But it's so funny. Like I'll read the comments on my stories every now and then, and like I'm always like pleasantly surprised how somebody will take something that I wrote in like inch 1,500 of a 3,000 word story, and like actually comment on it. Like I just want to be like, thank you for getting that far.
Well, I just think that intelligent readers start at the bottom and work up.
Yeah. Do you know that at The Athletic they have metrics? They could actually tell how far somebody gets into a story, and they had something on our general Slack the other day that they 56% of like viewers actually finish a story. I don't know what my metrics would be specifically, but overall at The Athletic.
They don't want to hurt your feelings by telling you.
Exactly.
From Jeremy Lattimore, do you believe that Fenton is content to use the season as an example of the fact that this team might need more than a tweak and wait it out?
The cynical Michael Russo would concur with that. Yeah. I think that's very, and I haven't talked to Fenton about that, but to get back to what I just said 5 minutes ago, he's not an idiot. He sees what we see. Maybe he needs to show Craig Leopold a missed postseason to get him to nudge.
A couple more Twitter questions. We appreciate everybody listening again.
Because on another topic, I mean, the future of this team is not bright right now when it comes to prospects. They got nothing other than Kaprizov and hopefully Cunnin, Eriksson, Ek, and Greenway, if you want to still consider them prospects. They got not much coming. And they got Belpedio down there in the minors. They got Connor Dewar. They got Kovanov. They got, but there's not a lot of stuff to get excited about. And they're the only team in the league that doesn't have a player in the World Juniors.
From Eric Vigo, longtime listener, Ari,
athletic contributor.
Ari, the Stars drama, via Shapiro. If the media had been more honest about Ben and Sagan's play, the front office would have never needed to generate this buzz. Have you ever been blatantly told to rip a guy by an organization? I'll go first. I've covered the Twins for a long time. I covered the Vikings for a long time. There were times when people I knew either in the front office or the business side or on the coaching staff or on the support staff said, hey, this guy is playing like a dog. Kick this guy in the butt for us.
Yeah. I've never had that latter part, but I get it often where this guy's playing like crap. And they know that if they all of a sudden start saying that to me, then I'm going to be like, Rush, you watching that and maybe write it. Right. So I do get a lot, over the years, my entire career I don't remember one where they said, please rip this guy, but I've definitely gotten plenty of times, like from inside the organization where coaches, players, coaches, GMs, other front office people, like, holy crap, what is wrong with this guy? Like that type of stuff.
Interesting
Absolutely.
question from Philip Kallenberg, and it's only about 20 words. Question for both of us. In which professional sport is there the largest apparent gap between the top league and the next best league? I would say
I would say hockey, definitely. I mean, maybe Eriksson Ekstad is level.
Right.
He's sniping pucks from the slot that he's sniped a lot all year with the Wild, and he can't score, but he's playing minor league goalies with minor league checkers and minor league defenders, and look, the AHL is a good league, but it's not the NHL.
I was thinking it's tough because
probably the NBA. I don't know.
Well, it's tough because
I've
do you
never
consider college basketball and college football to be the minor leagues for their sports? I would say the NBA because the G League is just bad college basketball, and college basketball is pretty bad in and of itself. And you can be a dominant scorer and a superstar in college, and you go to the NBA and you can be the 12th guy in a roster. That's my guess, at least. Let's see. From Ben, good question. What makes this core so bipolar? I understood it more when they were younger, but I also assumed they would have figured out a way to manage their way through a season after 5 years. Any insight?
I do have insight. Not too much that I want to get on here because a lot of stuff that I feel I have never, it's more with my eyes and I've never really, expressively written it, and it's just conjecture. But I just think that you take these runs. I do think when they were great this year and won 10 of 12, look who they were playing. I mean, just really, I don't want to. I mean, they got lucky in Edmonton to win that game in the second of back-to-back. But trying to remember that whole run. They played St. Louis at times, twice in that run, who were trying to get their coach fired. They probably should have won in San Jose when San Jose wasn't playing great. LA and Anaheim were garbage at that time. So, that when they won 10 of 12, they were playing pretty crappy teams. And all of a sudden they started playing really good teams. And it started with a crappy loss against Arizona. And then it continued for a while. It started with bad goaltending. Then when Dubnyk got good, this is what you always fear when you get bad goalies, that when then Dubnyk got good, then the offense dried up. So it was kind of easy to look at these things. What I don't like is the lack of emotion in some of these games, especially at home during that stretch of 10 of 13 where they lost. That's my convoluted way of saying that. But I just think that this team, it comes down to it that just, they have a lot of guys that you wanted to play better that aren't playing better. So then there's a lot of, when all of a sudden Granlund goes into a funk, it kills the team. Or when all of a sudden you lose a Matt Dumba, it kills the team. I mean, you lose Matt Dumba, they score 4 goals in 4 games. That's not a coincidence.
Let's do last question from Derek Felska. Felska, a longtime listener, do want to thank again BiteSquad.com. Remember, go to BiteSquad.com, Bite Squad app. Use the promo code football before the morning of January 2nd to get $5 off your order of $20 or more. Thanks again to Bite Squad. WizKids.tech, Twill in the Edina Galleria, Delano's Pizza, Delano'sPizza.com, FixologyRepair.com, Tony Hoagland, your State Farm agent, Champlin. Thanks to everyone who's made the show a success. Again, our numbers across the network are way up. If you know somebody who wants to advertise with us, have them reach me at talknorthpodcast@gmail.com. They'd reach a lot of people at a reasonable price. And the last question from Derek is, with Bartkowski filling in pretty well for a banged-up Sealer, any chance we see a right-shot defenseman from Iowa getting a shot with a big club?
Oh, I think eventually they're going to have to. Obviously, they're going to need Sealer probably to come back to that happen. You don't want all of a sudden 3 minor league defensemen in your lineup. I don't think it's going to be Belpedio. They want to be patient with him. Although they told me they wanted to be patient with Cunnin, and the next thing you know, Cunnin was up. My guess is it's going to be Ryan Murphy. If their power play, continues to struggle and things like that, I would definitely call up a guy like Murphy just for the role. But right now, this is what it is. I thought Bartkowski looked good the other night. We'll see. I don't think Sealer's injury is major. We still haven't talked about it. Let's not talk about it now. Maybe we do it on January 9th. But we got to talk about the injury situation and how. Yes. I want to explain how. Let's put it this way. Let's end on this note, on a totally different subject to leave Felska's question for a second. I took one for the team. The team being Minnesota hockey fans overall, to prove a point to Paul Fenton by knowing Matt Dumba's injury, making myself look sophomoric by letting everybody know that I knew Matt Dumba's injury, but yet not writing it. To make there was so much behind the scenes stuff going on behind the scenes between me, the PR person who I think was on my side, even management who I think was on my side, versus Paul on this whole, I think, sophomoric injury thing that not sophomoric is definitely the wrong word, maybe archaic injury philosophy that he has. And, I read the comments on the story where I wrote that I knew Dumba's injury but wasn't telling you, the fan, the reader, the listener. And it was all for a reason. And it finally got to the point that it was announced, and hopefully now it will change things in the future on how they deal with injuries. Now, for a guy like Sealer, that has an upper body injury that he could be back any day, I'm fine with them calling that. But the ruptured pec, was something that, and then the hiding the timeline until I snuffed it out and was able to write it and put them in a little bit of a tough position, because I at least put that out, that he had to come out the next day and admit to the other writers that essentially got scooped that this was not a day-to-day thing. There was a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes between the week of me writing the first Dumba story that he was going to be out long-term, to them announcing that he was going to have surgery the next day, to then me writing that day that we knew the injury at the Athletic, but we were not going to put it because we were going to abide by Fenton's rule, to stuff that happened in the 5 days until the 26th. So we should get more into this.
I think it'd be a great topic, especially live.
Yeah.
So January 9th, is that our next show, or we're going to do one between now and then?
We could do one. We're going to figure that out in 2 minutes.
Yes. So January 9th, January 28th, the next show's at Delano, 6 p.m. each night. Thanks so much to everybody who's listened, to all of our sponsors. The way the network's moving, I think we're going to have a big 2019. Thanks to Michael for all of his work over the years.
Pretty little city built on a hillside. Music in the bars and fire in the sky. We went to the beach and it was covered in ice. And I used to call it home. So much coming out, there's nothing going in. I know that you feel like you're never gonna win. Oh, but the world won't forgive a winner.
Like we all know, I'm not a winner.
Now is the chance to use reliable energy to grow your money with the Dominion Energy Reliability Investment. Our new investment product offers competitive returns, no maintenance fees, and flexible online access to your money. Make the reliable investment in reliable energy. The Dominion Energy Reliability Investment. To find out more, go online to reliabilityinvestment.com. That's reliabilityinvestment.com.
How do you keep your family healthy this season when it feels like everyone around you is getting sick? I use Sambicol. It's drug-free and scientifically tested to help support your immunity. Sambicol has the power of black elderberry in every purple bottle. It comes in tablets, syrup, chewables, or my kids' favorite, the great-tasting gummies. So this cold and flu season, support your family's immunity with Sambicol Black Elderberry. It's the only one I trust for my family. And best of all, my kids love it too.